Welcome, everybody. John Zager. Good morning. Still morning. How about that? 11:34 Colorado time. Thursday, I think. How is everybody? I have the answer to that, actually, and that's what we're going to be doing this podcast on. I'm guessing the podcast is not going to be a real long podcast today. Probably short. Yesterday and the day before were interesting days. I ran into and encountered situations that were hostile. I wasn't out looking for hostility, but it sure came and found me. And I kind of sat on it for a day, and it just kept occurring. And then last night, about 2 o'clock, 2:15 in the morning, I woke up and I wrote my blog. That's at jzager.blogspot.com. And I wrote it on the same topic that I'm doing my podcast on, and it was called Hostility. And it was probably one of the longest blogs I've ever written. And it was very, very good, very well written, very precise and to the point. And it just explained what hostility can do to you physiologically, as well as mentally, emotionally, and just how disease comes and tracks you down. But you may want to go read that. So here's the deal. I'll give you a little preface of what I'm talking about. And then you guys can decide if you're well enough that you don't need to read my blog or listen anymore to my podcasts. Here's the deal. Let me see if I can even put this into perspective. I've been running across people that have been projecting their anger and hostility towards me, right? I'm not doing anything. I'm just running into situations where I'm encountering people that provide services, and I'm just requesting service. And for whatever reason, they're just very angry and hostile towards me. And so I try to ignore that stuff and go on with my day, and I run into more people, more hostility, more projection, more unhappy people. So this morning, I've got turmeric root tea with ginger root in it, and then a green tea bag. Talk about healthy. Wow, this stuff is really good. It's hot right now, steeping, but I think I'm going to probably go find some place to put some ice in here I'm not going to be able to drink all of this anyway. I think I'll make it cold tea. But so that's been the past few days for me. I have no idea where it's coming from. So I decided to pay attention, as I always do, to people interacting with other people on the planet. And I noticed that there's a lot of hostility out there. Just watching people interact. What's an example? Place that buys and sells, or you go to get tires. And I decided to stop in just to look at some tires, because I actually need a couple tires for my little Airstream and wheels. And so I'm just starting to do some homework. I'm not looking to do anything. But I was just paying attention to the interaction of people in the store with customers. And the people running the stores, I went to a few, were getting like hostile with the customers because the customers were not following the program that these guys were suggesting in terms of tire and kind and price and, what we can do and what we can't do for you. And, you need to follow our program if you want to buy our tires. And it was a hostile environment, not just one, but several places. So then I thought I would check out grocery stores. And sometimes they clean bathrooms, not very often, but sometimes they do, right? Kind of a silly thing. Have you ever noticed how much hostility there is when a person needs to use the potty, and the potty's got signs and these things that go across the door, and then they have these big carts stationed in front of the doors? I mean, they're clearly saying, don't approach this bathroom. The person's inside there cleaning. I don't have a problem with, cleaning bathrooms. If anything, please clean bathrooms more often. But the customers are irate and demanding to go in and use the bathroom. This isn't just I decided to go check it out in the past couple days. I watch this stuff all the time, wherever I'm at in the country, in stores where somebody has to use the restroom. And the person inside that's doing the cleaning, of course, gets equally as mad and hostile towards the customer, because that person's just trying to do their job, and the customer's just trying to use the restroom, and it's just this big argument thing going on, right? Oh boy, that's hot, and boy is it good. You got to let it cool down. I'm using this silver thermos tall coffee mug of mine or whatever. It keeps the whatever really hot. But so there's a couple situations. And then I have an Airstream trailer. It's just a little 19-foot. It's called a Bambi. It's a 1999. It's really a classic, and it's very, very nice, and they have all kinds of amenities and stuff. And I've been keeping it when I'm not traveling at this location where I live, and for, I don't know, let's just say 6 years. And it's real inexpensive, and the people that run the place are really hostile. God. We're not even going to count the times I've been hollered at for who knows what I've done wrong over there. But I was getting moved to another location yesterday, right? And the person in charge, the owner, was hollering at cars for going too fast inside the storage area where all these other trailers are, right? And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, moms and dads, when they bring their trailers back from the weekend, they have their kids, and their kids are out playing and trying to have a good time while mom and dad are parking their RV, which they have no clue how to they have no clue how to back up. Which is, you want to have some fun, go to an RV storage facility and just watch people try to back up. Go to an RV park and watch people try to maneuver their RVs around, going straight, going back, turning. It's hilarious. But at any rate, that's beside the point. There's arguments going on in these places that the owners of the RVs expect certain kinds of service and accommodations, and the people who run the parks and the storage places demand, you follow their rules and regulations. And actually on the contract, these contracts now to store your RV, right, which used to be a half a page or a page long and sign your name and that's it, right? So they're now up to 5 and 6 pages put together by an attorney with every little item they can think of that might come back and haunt the owner of the facility. That's nuts, you guys. That's called fear, number one. And that's called just, an assumption that people are going to attack you. So therefore, make all the rules and regulations even more lengthy and detailed to cover every conceivable notion that could arise out of this interaction between these two people, the customer and the owner, regarding your RV, whether you're staying at a park or storing it. Hostility. It's just hostility. And here's the thing that I'm noticing. People are not... let me see if I can get this correct. People are not at the point where, I'm not really agreeing with what you're saying to me, and the other person isn't taking the position of, I'm not real comfortable with the way that you're deciding to handle this, and maybe we need to sit down and talk this through and better understand both people's position, and ultimately it's whatever's written down is the way it really needs to turn out. That ain't happening. In these different kinds of tire places or RV places or rental places of some kind. It's just not turning out that way. It's not a discussion between the customer who needs to use a restroom and the person who's cleaning it. They're screaming at each other. As opposed to, if you're the customer, you may want to ask, is there another restroom in the store that I could go use? Or you may want to ask, do you have an approximate idea on how much longer you might be in there cleaning? That ain't happening. People are hollering at each other. People are mad. People are storming out. Well, I'm not buying my groceries here if I can't, use the restroom. Wow. Gas stations. Gas has gone up. It's summertime. So I guess it'd be the oil industry, right? Oil and gas industry. They raise the prices so that they make a bigger profit in the summer because more people are traveling. I don't agree with that. I don't understand why gas needs to go up because it's summertime. Where does it say they're entitled to a larger profit margin because I'm going to be driving my family around the country more? I don't know where it says that. But that's beside the point. So we have more people now going to the gas stations to get gas whenever there's a station that's a couple, 2-3 cents less than the other 95% of the stations in that town. And people have to wait in line, right? To get their gas. I've seen pictures on TV of hurricanes down in the south and east part of the United States where there's these massive long lines of people waiting in line to get gas, right? So that they can get out of town before the hurricane comes. I don't see anybody throwing any punches at anybody. But for some reason nowadays, maybe it's where I live, I don't know. People are just angry. Hurry up! Fill up and get out of the way. Move your car up. Hostility. I'm not sure, but the last presidential election, it got real heated, got real hostile, got real ugly, name calling, and just, trying to publicly humiliate the other side, the people. They're just people that have a different opinion. It doesn't mean you have to attack them physically. It just got really, really hostile. Ugly. Well, here's what happens. And it's playing itself out now anyway. So you can certainly just go back and look at the politics that went on in the past few years. And I'm going to name a name. And I hope like all get out that he survives and goes on and continues his career. I don't like him. I think his tactics are maybe not all that ethical. But anyway, that's my opinion. John McCain. How many ugly, hostile things has he done against people of his own party? I mean, just go back over the last 2-3 years. We won't go any further back because there's enough evidence that indicates this guy has no ethics. He has no standards, no morals, no values. Disease came and struck him dead. This guy's probably days or weeks away from dying. That's just one example. And I could name other names. I'll let you guys go figure that part out. And these people now have diseases that are killing them. And there's actually a couple that are already dead. So do you think all of that attitude, right, negative attitude, did them any favors? Do you think that hostility did them any favors? It's not genetics. We've been preaching that for eons. I'm tired of preaching. Disease is not genetics. You did not acquire it from your family. You know, it's your belief systems, your perceptions, the environment that you hang out in. There's a... How much time do I have? Let me see here. Okay, so I can go on a little bit longer, but so how would I say this? If you're not a hostile person, your immune system strengthens. If you're not an angry person, your immune system strengthens. If you're not a negative person, you don't attract disease. Just follow that wherever you want to go with it. The point being is that you have a choice. We make ourselves sick. I go and do a workshop, and the first thing I say to people is, can you make yourself sick? And everybody raises their hand and says, yes, 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 yes. Nobody's arguing that. And then I say, can you make yourself well? And you might get a hand here or there. All of this hostility comes to a point that's detrimental to your health. Mostly physical. A lot of it's emotional. Right? So, there's another thought that I have, kind of a sidebar to all this stuff. But we are creators. We are divine. We have a greater intelligence inside each and every one of us that created us, that keeps us functioning and alive. It's miraculous in some senses to some people. It's miraculous that we're alive. It's a scientific anomaly to other people that these bodies just continue to run the way that they do. Right? There's another add-on to that, And it's the law of good. The law of being good. The law of doing good. Enhances the well-being of the person, the immune system, making everything stronger. Happier people. Because you're now being of service to other people. Remember we talked about that a couple days ago? Being of service to other people. The law of good. That's a law. It's a spiritual law of good, right? I don't know if you guys want to... I'll just touch on religion for a second. And I won't go there very long because I respect that everybody has their own religious beliefs, and I'm not trying to tinker with that. Jesus Christ came down from heaven, became man, and lived according to the law of good, spiritual law of good, and performed miracles. And said in the Bible that I will pass on the ability to heal people to my brethren and followers. And he did. And that is taken up in the 12 apostles. Right? And they went on after Jesus died and resurrected, went back up to heaven. They went on performing miracles and healing according to the spiritual law of doing good. Somewhere, and there's other people after the 12 apostles. If you go back through history, and I'm not going to go do that for you guys, because I don't want to make this a religious podcast in particular, but, you know, we can all think of certain people over the last couple hundred years in our minds that lived that kind of lifestyle and healed people. The same way the apostles did, the same way Jesus Christ did. Okay? They didn't get sick, by the way. We, in turn, you and I, have the same ability to heal ourselves and other people. And we got lost in the shuffle. And we quit living according to the spiritual law of doing good. Right? I don't think you're going to argue with that. It says the spiritual law of doing good means that's the way you live your life. You don't do it here for an hour or help a little old lady across the street and then 4 years later you put $1 in a homeless person's hand or something. I mean, you know, that's not living the spiritual law of doing good. And what's happened is, this is my connection, what's happened is we've become hostile towards one another. All right. So that connection to what I talked about in this podcast, the two connect. And hopefully you understand that, and it's very, very clear. Go back and replay the podcast if you missed it, but the two obviously connect. Now, let me make a third connection for you. All of these neuroscientists, I'm going to call them, Dr. Bruce Lipton. He, biologist, just brilliant man. never used to be spiritual, became spiritual. What he taught in med school years and years ago, he teaches the exact opposite now. Wrote a book. I don't remember, something about love. And all of these other people, Dr. Joe, and all these prominent, notable people are saying the way we heal other people, the way we heal ourselves, the way we're supposed to be living our lives is through love. Not mushy love and all that stuff. I'm not even talking about that. But there's a genuine wanting the other person good to that person. The spiritual law of good. And they're now writing and talking publicly about this love that we need to have for one another, as opposed to the hostility. When I close my podcast, I don't think I ever missed a day where I didn't say, take care of one another. That is the love that they're all talking about. That is the love where people in the last couple hundred years have had that attitude and mentality of taking care of one another, that are able to heal and perform miracles. That's where the 12 apostles were able to heal people. That's where Jesus Christ was able to heal one another. To heal other people, to heal people. Take care of one another is the exact opposite of the hostility in 2018. It's out of control. You guys are out of control. So, the takeaway from today's podcast is for you to figure out. I only ask that you go back and re-listen to this podcast. I don't want you making excuses or rationalizing why I'm not going to go back and listen to John's podcast. Who knows? Well, I don't like John. Well, I don't like the style John uses. Well, my apologies for that. I broadcast off of my phone in my truck, so everybody knows that. So, think about, are my beliefs so outrageously wrong? You're a program. You're living off of a belief system that was given to you by someone else. What are you doing with it anyway in the first place? If you're hostile, what does it say about that belief system? Maybe your belief system's hostile. We're going to have another podcast in probably the near future, not right away, but in the near future, around just the world being so hostile. I don't know. So, hope you all have a good day. It's kind of hazy out here. We got some rain last night, just a very little amount. But hope you all have a good day. I'm still excited about today. plan on paying attention to how people interact a lot. And here's one last parting thought. And this is not advertisement. This is just flat, not advertisement. I broadcast every day on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, iHeartRadio, YouTube, my daily blog, and 50 other social media places where you can listen or read or watch stuff that I talk about regarding the program, right? And I usually say, call me, contact me, text me, get a hold of me. Nobody to date has ever done that. That's scary. When we're in a world that is so hostile, living in programs, the matrix, and acting out sick behavior and not seeking help, I mean, narcissism just becomes a neon sign. I don't care if you don't want to call me for whatever reason, don't call me. But call somebody that does the psychology / neuroscience and get some help. Get some coaching. Get some consultation. Invite somebody to speak. Invite somebody to do a workshop. You guys, the world is out of control with hostility. I'm not even making that up. I'm not even exaggerating it. I'm not exacerbating it. You guys live on the same planet that I do. Unless you're walking around with your eyes and your ears closed. It's a hostile environment with very little love going on. So, track me down if you want. I'm available to help. I'm available to do whatever I can to inspire and empower your supernatural ability to do miraculous things. Anyway, take care of one another. God bless, and look forward to talking to y'all again real soon. See you. Bye.